Welcome to the Imagine the Possibilities show. This is Candy Barone. I am your host and the CEO and founder of You Empowered Strong. It is such an honor to have you join me today as we start to explore and go down a journey around really changing your what if to a powerful, purposeful, and passionate imagine if. So what does that even mean, right? What am I talking about when I say imagine the possibilities? And why is that something that we really have an opportunity to focus on? If you think about how we're showing up as leaders, and first of all, let me just talk about what being a leader really is. A leader is really around stepping into that power of choice. We've been taught so many times growing up, I know I heard this over and over again, that leadership is a function of either, you're either born a leader or it's something that you are sort of bestowed and given these tools and resources and grown into a leader. And while there's aspects of that are true, there are some inherent skills and traits and things that make you stand out more at times, that demonstrate those leadership qualities, or there's things and resources that you can bring in to really enhance your skills as a leader. The truth is that all of us have the opportunity to be a leader and to stand in that space. And it's really around the choices that we make. Because if you think about it, you were given a set of gifts and tools that are unique to you. And they're unique to what you get to offer in terms of value and service in this world. And so when you realize that leadership is really, truly a function of how you choose to show up, a function of how you choose to serve others. And then the powerful piece around that is the choice around how you choose to take personal responsibility inside those two spaces. When you understand that and you embrace that, you step into a space to be a more purposeful, more intentional, and a leader who really is stepping into your gifts to shine and serve in a very powerful way to others and in the world. And so assuming that we understand that definition of leadership, understanding that for each of us it is a responsibility, it is an opportunity, and there are infinite possibilities in the realm of what it looks like to lead. It might be within your family, it might be in how you're leading your day and your activities, it might be in your community, or it might be on a global scale where you're creating massive impact. There isn't a size or a scale that says this kind of leader is more important versus this kind of leader. We all have a role to play in our function on this earth, and we all have an ability to serve others through that process. And so as you understand and embrace that idea around leadership truly being a choice, that leadership is not something bestowed upon you, leadership is not something that's granted or given to you because you're a select chosen few. Leadership is something that you choose by your own self-empowerment. Just like being empowered, it's one of those things that's very self-intrinsic. You motivate yourself, you empower yourself, and you dare to have the courage to stand in a space to be the leader you were designed to be. And so when you understand that, you start to play at a different level. And when you can open up access to the possibilities that happen when you stand in your most magnificent light, and when you are willing to have courage and be bold and dare to dream a bigger game, then you start to play in a space that says, okay, how do I imagine the possibilities? And what happens more times than not, and the way we get caught up in things in our society and in our culture and in the world, is we play this very negative what if game that's all about, what if I can't do that? What if they don't like me? What if I fail? What if they make fun of me? What if I get shut down? What if that client doesn't buy from me? What if the world's going to hell in a handbasket, to use a nice cliche expression? What if, we end up with more violence? What if there's more fires? What if? And every time we play in that space of what if, we give power to that negative, self-deprecating, very debilitating space that shuts us down. And many times it's actually our excuse to cop out, because we go, well, what if that's not really mine? And I even want you to think about the expression that we say a lot of times, which is, where there's a will, there's a way. I really personally struggle with that statement, because I think it gives us a reason to say that's not mine to take responsibility for. And because if you think about what those words really mean, it's kind of the same way that what if game starts to unfold. It's that space around, well, where there's a will, there's a way. And if it's not given to me or granted to me, or somehow I'm, the magic wand comes down and says, okay, you have all the things you need, the stars are aligned, we step away from the space to say, if it's something that's really meaningful, if it matters, if it's connected to my compelling why, then it's up to me to take the action to open up access to receive it. And so instead of the where there's a will, there's a way, it's more where there's a will, there's you and there's me. Because when you get very clear about who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, why that matters to you, and who you serve, so what I call your what, why, and who, when you get clear in that space, you show up and say, no matter what, I'm willing to step into that with courage, even knowing that this is scary, even knowing that this is uncomfortable. And instead of playing that damaging, negative what if game, which is really what if the sky is falling, it's the doomsday, it's every negative possibility, which by the way in most cases has never happened. So we have to create the story. We actually make up a bunch of BS and the story that goes around that what if to start to visualize and create the possibility that it may or may not happen. What we don't realize is we have the power to shift that and imagine bigger things that serve and are more positive instead. And it's interesting because for the longest time with clients, I would always talk to them about leveling up their what if. So what do I mean by that? It was, okay, so for every negative what if you have, I want you to come up with 5 positive what ifs instead. So for example, it went something like, what if I fail? And immediately I would say, okay, give me the first positive what if that would be the opposite of that. And they would say, okay, what if I succeed? A little tongue-in-cheek and a little flippant sometimes. And I'm like, okay, so what's the second one? And then they would say, well, what if I succeeded so much that I could pay off my debt and be debt-free? Okay, that sounds pretty good. How about the third one? Well, what if I could succeed so much that I was actually creating jobs in my business, or I was opening up opportunities for other people to see what was possible? That's starting to get interesting, because when you start to get into the third what if, it starts to change your energy, because you actually have to put yourself in a space to think about what those what ifs might be. And so the fourth one might be, what if I could succeed so much that I'm giving back in powerful ways in my community, or to the charities and the organizations that really have my heart? Ooh, that sounds really good, right? Or what if I could succeed so much that I could travel every quarter around the world and increase my level of experiences and take in new cultures and see different things and actually have the money and the resources to do that? Wow, pretty awesome, right? And so while that can be powerful, just shifting your what if frame, just moving that from a negative, anchoring, what if the sky is falling, what if it's doomsday, what if I fail, oh my goodness, what if, to a more powerful and purposeful what if that's positive, there's actually another level. And it's that level that we knew so well when we were kids. We were so clear and so it was just such a skill we had to sit there and play Imagine If. That space of make-believe, right? Remember the days when you used to sit there and say, imagine if I had $1 million. Imagine if I could travel the world and see anything I wanted to see. Imagine if I could climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Imagine if I could go deep sea diving. Imagine if I could cure cancer. Imagine if I could change the world. And it's interesting because when I was a kid, people used to ask me, Candy, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? It's such a question that I think is not the right question to ask our youth. I think it's about, what do you want to change? What do you want to impact? How do you want to serve? And have them start thinking from that space to start imagining bigger around who they are, how they get to lead, and what space they choose to stand in to serve others in a really powerful and passionate and purposeful way. However, we still say to kids all the time, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we expect them to say doctor, lawyer, engineer, artist, whatever it might be, right? Well, it was interesting because my mom and I joke about this quite a bit. I had a different response. Even as a child, I had a very different response. And people would say, Candy, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would say, it doesn't matter. I want to change the world. And they're like, oh, sweetie, that's so sweet. But really, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm going to change the world. And they would keep kind of patronizing me or, trying to not really understanding what I was saying. And they would say, no, I mean, sweetie, that's so sweet. what do you really want to be when you grow up? And I would get very adamant, and I'd put my hands on my hips and I'd say, I'm going to change the world and I'm going to write a book. Because I was very clear I was going to write a book. And so I've done that, and I'm on a path. We're all on a path. Everything we do creates a ripple effect. So imagine if you choose to step forward with a more purposeful intention about how you are showing up as a leader. Imagine if you were to offer more kindness, more compassion, more grace to yourself and to others around you. Imagine what that would open up for you in your life. Imagine the possibilities of how much deeper your relationships would go, how much more meaningful and richer your conversations would be. Imagine if you chose to look at people from a filter of, I really believe they're coming from the best place they can with what they have at this moment. I don't know their story. I don't know what happened to them today. I don't know why maybe they're projecting this energy that can be negative or forceful or aggressive or mean. But I'm going to offer some compassion to try to understand that first, this has nothing to do with me, really, and maybe they just need someone to open up a space to say, I see you, I value you, I love you, and I'm here as another human to hold space for you, to say, if you need someone to talk to, or if you need someone that's trying to understand, or if you need someone that just offers you a little grace, I want to be that person for you. Imagine what we could change. The power of imagine if. Because what happens is, just like you have to create that BS story to go with the what if, you get to play in a space of imagine if, to create this visualization that has such rich, saturated, juicy color and emotion and feelings connected to it, that you start to actually stand in a space to take it on, to embrace it, to feel it around you as if you're stepping forward and going, imagine if this is already here. When you put the question out into the universe and you say, I want to bring this into my life. I desire this. I choose to manifest this. Rather than focusing on how you're going to make that happen, when something's going to happen, or why something's happening or not, which all of those are none of your business, truthfully. That's not your role. That's God, the universe, whatever you believe in, that's their role to bring that to you. Your role is to ask the question, am I opening up access in every way possible to open up what's mine to receive so that I can stand in a place to show up and serve at my highest and best capacity? Imagine if. Imagine if you could be that person who offered compassion first. Imagine if you could be that leader who was kinder, gentler, more open, vulnerable, and transparent with the people that you communicate and connect with. Imagine if you offered grace first and came at it from a place to offer peace and love and this warm blanket around people that says, you're safe, and I see you, and I hear you, and I value you, and I love you. I really want you to think about, there's so much magic and power when we allow ourselves to get into imagine if. Because your subconscious, it doesn't know the difference between real and imagine. It only knows what you keep perpetuating as the thoughts that go over and over and over again in your head and the words that you choose to use. So before you react in a situation, take that pause, take that breath, and for a moment, allow yourself to visualize that imagine if space to say, imagine if right now, instead of reacting, instead of it being about me, instead of it being this attack that I feel that I just have to respond and be defensive around, imagine if right now I chose to be more purposeful and come from a place of deep, meaningful compassion, intentional kindness, and a place that says, I want to create a space of grace for me and that other person. Imagine the possibilities. And so as we start to take this journey together in the Imagine the Possibilities show, we're going to talk every week about a new space where we can play and dance and allow the magic to unfold in what Imagine If really could look like. And so for this week, I really want you to think about how you're showing up, how you're choosing to serve others, and how you are choosing to take personal responsibility as a leader standing in the gifts that you've been given. We spend a lot of time asking the question as we're living this life and sometimes just existing in this life, because we need that awakening, we need that jolt to get us fired up again, to tap us into that thing that gets us up in the morning, that passion, that fire that says, I know there's a worthiness I've been given so that I can show up and shine my light. And I find it interesting that we ask the question all the time, what's my purpose? What's the meaning of life? And I think the question is really simple. And I want you to imagine this for a moment. You were given a song to sing that's yours to sing and yours alone. You are the only person that can sing that song. The challenge is, are you willing to stand in that song and sing it loudly and proudly for the entire world to hear? And I don't mean loudly and proudly like me, like when I'm on stage, you can hear me project, and there's times that I'm speaking in Austin and you can probably hear me in Milwaukee. I'm not talking about volume. I'm not talking about projection. I'm talking about owning your voice and having the confidence and the courage to say, no matter what, I know this is my song. I know this is my gift, and this is my opportunity to sing it out for those who need to hear it. They need my perspective. They need me to be that lighthouse. That's that light that's beckoning them to me. And when you get so clear about that ability and that choice to stand in a space to say, no matter what, I'm going to sing that song and I'm going to shine my light, I want you to imagine the possibilities when that happens. Because that's when the real magic unfolds. And it starts with you saying yes to yourself in a very powerful way. To say that I'm going to, regardless of the fear showing up, regardless of what others choose to do as a result, I'm going to step forward in my courage and in that uncomfortable space to say, no matter what, I'm going to come from a place of compassion, kindness, and grace for myself first, so that I can offer that in mass capacities to others as well. When you choose to do that and you say yes to yourself purposely, intentionally, and clearly, you start to destroy the noise so that you can go big, to really grow big in your life, in your influence, in your relationships, in what you're manifesting and bringing forward to you, in the magic that you can unlock and the magic you can create. And so you are a creator. You are someone who has the ability to have the magic wand to go out there and create change, even if only in your own home and backyard. So right now, I want you to really challenge yourself. I want you to think about how you can step forward as a leader more intentionally, more purposely, more passionately, and more powerfully from an imagine if space around compassion, kindness, and grace. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for starting this journey around Imagine the Possibilities, because it really is our opportunity to change that what if that can be so debilitating, so anchoring, and so negative into a powerful, passionate, and purposeful Imagine If. So imagine the possibilities, and I'll catch up with you next time. Talk to you later. Have a great day. Make it powerful, make it meaningful, and go out and shine your light. Imagine if.